I was able to
Let's
do
get
it.
into it. It's going to get worse. It ain't never going to get better. I'm so glad that, you know what I'm saying, I even, you know what I mean, experienced this. I'm glad I experienced you from, you know what I mean, enlightening me from the internet to, you know what I mean, online, getting my one-on-one in depth, giving me a lot of information that I can take back to my people as well.
Yes.
And hopefully we could both get everything meshing with everything with the lineage and everything with the genealogy. This is no scam. This is all real. This is a real homeboy that put it down. He mean what he say. He got receipts and he put it down. He stands on business. Straight up. One love.
I think it's important for us now to begin holding
I didn't finish this pitch,
the type of
but I
her
started
thinking accountable
I had it on my altar
for the mess that Africa is in. Here's what I mean by that. You'll find the likes of her run her mouth and talk about how Africans should fix Africa. Okay? Africans are running away from Africa. The reason why Africa is where it is today is because her government, her country, the one that she wants to defend so much, stole from Africa to aid and fund the
Oh, just bear with me, family. I didn't think I would be able to come on.
It's the government. It's the government. The government. The government. It's the government. It's the government. The government. The government. It's the government. It's the government. It's the government. The government. The government. The government. It's the government. It's the government. The government. The government. It's the government. It's the government. It's the government. The government. Yes, Maxim, these were the same Bush babies we donate food to. These are the same Bush babies we felt empathy for when we were sitting at the dinner table and our mother said, boy, girl, you better eat all that food. Don't you know there's an African starving out there somewhere? Oh, Lord, oh, Lord, oh, Lord. He wants us to believe, listen to this bullshit, typical Tether talking points. He's claiming that we're on welfare.
I remember my mom and them saying
that the exploitation of Africa is what funded our welfare programs in America. Bush baby, I don't expect you to know this because you're not American. You're a dumbass African. American welfare programs are funded by taxpayers. They're funded by the citizens of this nation. They're funded by us. What are you smoking? Oh, wait, I know they smoke bones and shit, and they sniff glue and shit. I mean, you can be on numerous substances. I mean, look at the glare. Look at how upset this little Bush baby is. Oh, Lord, oh, Lord. He said, your welfare, you know you Akatas, you lazy Akatas, you're on welfare. Well, guess what? Africa paid for your welfare through colonialism. Yet, what are you talking about? You were colonized by Britain. British folks and Americans are different. Stop the cat. Stop the cat.
And if she doesn't benefit from it, people around her benefit from it. The country that she lives in, because it's about time that we need to point this out. Because when we talk about the U.S. robbing Africa, we somehow use and we exempt Black Americans from beneficiaries of that robbery.
This motherfucker can't even speak English properly. He knows he fucked up that sentence. Look at how he looking to the side. He like, damn, yeah, English is not my first tongue. This motherfucker he said that all wrong. He said that all wrong. If beneficiaries is a big word for you, Playboy, just don't go chasing waterfalls. Stick to the mush mouth and the
let me explain
that you're used to. This motherfucker is trying to say that
yeah, I'm on Family Live.
I
thought it
was beneficiaries of the exploitation. I have a feeling this man is just gonna cry like an effeminate bitch at the camera, and he's not actually gonna share his screen and show any receipts, any documentation. He's not gonna cite any sources. He's not gonna do like the king of receipts, also known as Mike TV. He's not gonna do like that. He's gonna stay in his feelings, and he's gonna say a bunch of bullshit and see what sticks. Lord, oh Lord, he wants us to believe we're beneficiaries from some apparent colonization that America did in Africa that never existed.
Good day, family. What happened was I was listening to brother, and I'm not able to stream to Facebook and YouTube today. That damn light bill. So I did the webcam thing, and it just came on. You know, I was trying to hold off for a few minutes and stuff. So we just gonna watch brother. I sent him a message that I'm live on his live, and if he tell me to get off, then I'll cut him off. But it's good knowledge though. Oh, my ancestors, the books that he got, y'all, a book cost $700. Oh shit, I'm doing this.
What is it? Because you're either an American.
I'll be right back. Let me
who
get my
country,
water,
who
tea, or
stole from
something.
Africa,
Find a tea
and
bag
that
or something.
Sir, can you show us any evidence? Can you show us some videos or some imagery of Americans stealing from Africa? Or are you just a whiny, effeminate bitch of a bush baby who's too insecure to realize Nigeria is ran by Nigerians, not white people? The continent of Africa is ran by continental Africans, not foreigners. So you guys were slave drivers. You guys sold your fellow Africans to the Europeans. You guys are the main culprit of the transatlantic slave trade. You got gunpowder and mirrors and trinkets and shit from the Europeans in exchange for slaves. And guess what? Like a crackhead uncle of sorts, you smoked up all the money, and now you're poor and down bad, trying to blame everybody but yourself. Stop it. We see through you.
Desolate and sentient African leaders who dared to push back against the policy of your government so they can steal the resources of Africa and fund your community. So you are part of the thievery that occurred. Because if we go around and use Africans that you're talking down about, they can't fix the country, how are they supposed to fix it? Because the moment they push back in your government, they push back at your government, which you've done in the past. Your government assassinates African leaders and leaders.
Can you please show any examples or evidence to support your
Everybody,
claim
this is
that
Mike
the American
TV.
government
You
has
want to go to
assassinated
it? This is
African
Mike
leaders?
TV. He's live.
Can you give me any receipts to that?
I didn't try to do it like this, but
God damn it,
that's
I'm
how
so
it.
good at debating. I can even debate, counter my own points. So I can make a good argument for that being true, a much better argument than he could ever make. Oh Lord, this man would never join me for a live discussion. His IQ is far too low. He has the access to the internet, same as I, and he's not going to share his screen. He's not going to share a source. He's not going to show a single receipt for the bullshit he's promoting. And you wonder why we're delineating from you mushmouth, jealous bush babies.
Leave them in desolate. So they can fund your community and fund you and keep
I'm gonna write down the website.
The electricity that you enjoy today comes from uranium resources. You don't produce that in your country. They get it from Africa. So you're able to power your country, and Africa stays in darkness. The cold hand on your so-called computer, the one that you use to edit your videos, or the computers you get, your MacBooks, your PC computers, the cold hand is called from Congo. Congolese children, men and women, are killed every day, left wasteland, robbed, so that way you can have.
That's not our problem, Bush baby. Fix your country. You are the majority. Africans run Africa. Stop doing bad foreign business deals. Mom, you want to be the main culprit in the transatlantic slave trade, make all this money, you got all this natural resources, all the gold, all the diamonds, and you still trick off all you have.
Africa gonna have to stand up for Africa.
Like a hoe on the internet.
We can't do nothing from here. All we can do is keep them in our meditation. Africa gonna have to stand up for Africa. We wish them all the best. They got all the jewels.
Meanwhile, this nigga got a MacBook as well. Probably this motherfucker got a MacBook as well. Sir, you're part of the problem. And you're probably broadcasting from the UK or America, not Nigeria. I know y'all don't got Wi-Fi like that.
Okay. If you didn't have that country, you wouldn't have this to talk nonsense on.
Okay, and that's
your fuel, you could power your cars today. Your gas are all arrived from Africa, pennies on the dollar, from countries like Nigeria, from many other countries. with their stuff and the resources or robbed from, so you can power your...
Hey guys, let's play devil's advocate and say that there's truth to what he's saying, that Black Americans benefit from the exploitation of Africa. Who's the main culprit? Would it be the French? Would it be the Dutch? Would it be the British? Or would it be foundational Black Americans, whom some of were descendants of people that got sold by their fellow African to slavery by the European? Sir, stop the cat. Stop the cat. Stop the cat. He'll never make a video critiquing the white power structure, claiming that he needs some reparations from them, but he's going to try to say that he needs reparations from us. Okay. I thought we're all on welfare. How are we supposed to be on welfare and give you reparations, sir? Make it make sense.
Carbs. And these are just a few of minerals that Africans was robbed from, so that way African Americans and Black Americans can live nicely with their lazy self and have the audacity to come to us and talk about that we can't build our own country.
You can't, sir. You can be mad and in your feelings on the internet and call us lazy all you want. I don't want to do you this raw and uncut, so I'm gonna withstand from Googling the poverty rate of Nigeria. I don't want to punch too low below the belt, so I'm not going to look up whether you're a third world or fourth world shithole. I mean, I'm not going to do you like that, sir. I mean, I'm the king of receipts. I can just do some quick typing and some Googling, but good Lord, I don't want to do you like that, per se. So again, you can call us lazy all you want. You can be a conspiracy theorist and claim that Black Americans have something to do with the bad business deals that your forefathers have done generationally. But at the end of the day, you're the one who has to look outside of your shipping container mud hut and live in the environment that you come from, that your people can't fix.
And the moment we try to keep your government out, to leave us to build, they assassinate our leaders. You and your government are part of that whole conspiracy. Run to you niggas.
Can y'all see this screen? I'm writing down the website for it.
The people say I gotta stop holding back. The people say, hold on, Mike.
I need the comments so I can make sure I get all these links.
You can take the kid gloves
on this channel. And the information that they telling us on this channel.
Yeah, Roddy. In the background it says "Born to be Great."
If you want to go to it, it's Mike TV.
Do you mean poor to be hungry? I mean, born to be great. Oh Lord, look how the poorest of poor global citizens have the most grandiose ideas about themselves. And I really do want to know, where is he broadcasting from in the UK? Babbling. Let's listen to some more babbling. But before we do, I've got to drop some bombs. Christopher, thank you for the contribution. Jared, thank you for the support, brother. Appreciate you putting 5 on it. Big Hank, thank you for putting 5 on it.
I don't have 5 to put on it. But if y'all got $5, put $5 on Mike TV, because YouTube has demonized his channel.
That's the part they don't want to talk about, because they want to hide.
Most of the stuff we need, Mike TV, to trace your ancestors. Don't go to Ancestry, whatever it is, 23. Go to Mike TV for that.
Walls of the United States, in other countries, which has destabilized many countries.
Sir, you guys killing each other has nothing to do with us.
This is coming up here as a result of those sanctions, as a result of the destabilization, so that when you can benefit, so that when you can live nicely with your lazy self.
Oh my God. He really thinks he's cooking by calling us. Sir, you don't realize that when you call us lazy, it doesn't hit with the weight that you think it does. I mean, I think in his mind, when he calls us lazy, it just like really strikes a chord in our soul and it just weakens our spirit a little bit and we feel a bit of spirit. Sir, we invented the dozens. We have pastime games of viciously, savagely roasting one another to thicken our skin because we deal with such oppression on a day-to-day. Sir, you calling us lazy while we're here in America? Sir, it's just a projection. Look at the coy look on his face. He knows he's not living in Nigeria. They don't have the infrastructure for him to sustain a YouTube channel. He knows that his whole channel is based on creating content around Black Americans because we got shit popping. How many tethers, how many Africans have YouTube channels that are predicated on covering Black American news, Black American celebrities? Did y'all realize all these celebrity gossip channels are run by tethers? Celebrity Junk, O'Shea U. Jackson.
Yep.
World Star Hip Hop, The Shade Room. All these females, these seemingly Black females on YouTube doing all this celebrity gossip, they're all tethers. All of them. So it's interesting how these tethers literally make a bag off of cosplaying us, creating content centered around us, but at the same time, you're going to call us lazy.
Millionaires that left eyes.
Making a video about us because you know it'll get you clicks and views. And do I have to even touch on how bad they have the media psyops in full effect of these fucking Bush babies coming over here and cosplaying as us? I mean, it wasn't until a couple years ago I realized that homie from The Wire was an African from the UK. I mean, we got Kerry Washington, is that her name? Fucking presidents and shit on TV. That bitch is Jamaican. She's not one of us. We got the old girl right here. Her claim to fame was 12 years a slave. I bet you that's not what a foundational Black American slave looked like. Nice try again. Come on, we got this Colombian and Haitian broad putting on blackface and a nigga nose to play Nina Simone. How can I show you the receipts like this? How can I show you the videographic evidence like this? And this Bush baby cannot show a single source to back his claims. Are they trying to cosplay us? Are they trying to insert themselves into our community, into our culture, while fleeing from their homeland that is absolutely shit? The answer is yes.
It ain't gonna work.
African Bush baby playing Fred Hampton, y'all. We got the Bush babies playing Fred Hampton. They doing all of our civil rights here. Lord,
that's why they doing it. It ain't gonna work.
We got the African
It's not gonna work, honey. Nope.
Oh Lord, no. Not the African who gets a fake mustache and now he's Martin Luther King Jr. No, they can't do our icons like that. We can't let them do our icons like that. This is why we're delineating. While y'all think that FBAs are just these crazy xenophobic people that hate Africans, nah, I've got receipts to show the contrary. Let's talk about it. So again, he's not going to show a single receipt to back his claims, but let's listen to some more explaining from an insecure-ass African with an identity crisis. And then we got a homie backstage. We're going to bring him up in just a moment. If you guys want to call in, click the link. The link is pinned to the top of the chat. This is a community discussion. I'm sure that this is the first time you've all heard an African say call in? Reparations.
Well, we ain't going to call in.
And now you have the audacity to now talk back at them coming to it, to tap into the resources that
is he saying we should pay them?
What audacity.
This brother right here.
See why I say they don't have no brains. That's why she didn't make any points. Because when we really need to have those conversations, we find that they are complicit in that. Because all those resources from Africa here benefited their community, benefited who they are. So you can live nicely and then look down on you and tell you to go fix your country. How am I supposed to fix my country when your country puts a gun in our government and say, hey, you can't sell this more than what we've talked about. Otherwise, you're set.
Can you show some receipts, Bush baby?
That's an issue. Tell me how am I supposed to fix my country? Because if I use that same argument against African Americans in this country, And with many instances, people will look at me and say, oh, you're so insensitive. You don't know what they were up underneath. You don't know what challenges they were put under. Yeah. So I'm supposed to be empathetic to your plight, which I am.
Have you ever dreamed of experiencing the rich history of Black Wall Street? This March, I'm offering an exclusive chance to visit Tulsa's Greenwood District, where history was made. Join us as we take a powerful tour led by living descendants of the Black Wall Street Massacre, explore the inspiring Black Wall Street Museum, opened in 2021, and discover untold stories. You'll also enjoy mouth-watering meals at Black-owned Southern restaurants and visit historic landmarks that honor our legacy. Don't wait, spaces are limited. Email me now at mike@nativebblackancestry.com to secure your spot. Let's celebrate history and build a connection to our roots.
But then allow you to look down on where your ancestors come from. You are shameful person.
The Bush baby, with all the shame in the world, is doing a poor job convincing us that we should have shame. We're living well in America. We have no shame for you Africans. We don't feel sorry for you Africans. If anything, we hope y'all can fix your country, so once we get some reparations from America, we can get what we're owed from Africa as well. But right now, y'all ain't really got shit like that. So, god damn it, it's hard to get reparations from a crackhead, ain't it? Lord, oh Lord, before we bring up the people we got backstage, before we finish this video, I think it's time for us to take a quick segue. A quick segue.
Oh, yeah, that's what he said.
A foundational.
Our brother, the African man, says Black Americans owe Africans reparations. That's why he upset. Right? He mad and stuff.
But you see,
I'm gonna wait to give my opinion on this.
We have a pastime. We are an educated people. At one point in time, it was prohibited for us to read because, good Lord, some Black folks read it. They knew what we could do with that power alone. And you know, what we got to do for just a moment is take a look, because everything that you need, history doesn't repeat itself, but it rhymes. You got to know where you've been to know where you're going. And this Bush baby, he can't share no receipts because he ain't took a look in a book. He don't know nothing about the reading rainbow.
Bird right at the sky, I can go twice as high. Take a look, it's in a pretty rainbow. I can go anywhere. Prancing on, waves abroad, pretty rainbow. I can be anything. Take a look, it's in our pretty rainbow.
I know, right? Y'all remember the reading rainbow?
Oh boy, let's take a look at the reading rainbow.
Brother took us
and yes, y'all, we got a Bush baby trigger.
About to start crying.
He said, "Wow, his Cash App's colonial." Yes, sir. My Cash App has the word colonial.
That's his Cash App, y'all. Colonial 2020.
Because
COLONIAL.
Literally called colonial, but that's neither here nor there. Ladies and gentlemen, reading is fundamental. We got some people backstage. Before we bring them up, before we continue the video, hit the like button, hit the Cash App, hit the PayPal, support the mission. But let's take a quick segue to do some reading, because I think this Bush baby's probably watching right now. You know, I tagged him in it after all. I wanted to do the Lord's work, do a little bit of charity, if you will, and educate the Bush baby as we roast him. So let's do some reading, but
let me check it out myself.
When we do this reading, it's going to make you even more upset with the bullshit you've heard this man say, because, God damn it, when we look at the receipts, Nigerians are the main culprit of the slave trade. Let's talk about it. This man whose ancestors were slave drivers, who were business partners with the Europeans, promoting the transatlantic slave trade. This is the type of nigga that's going to tell us that we owe them some reparations. Let's do some reading. It's also fundamental. Slavery in Nigeria. Slavery has a... existed in various forms throughout the history of Nigeria, notably during the Atlantic slave trade and trans-Saharan trade. Slavery is now illegal internationally in Nigeria. However, legality is often overlooked with different pre-existing cultural traditions, which view certain actions differently. In Nigeria, certain traditions and religious practices have led to the inevitable overlap between cultural, traditional, and religious practice, as well as national legislation in many African states, which has had the power to exert extra legal control over many lives, resulting in modern-day slavery. What does this say? Not only are they historically slave traders, they're engaged in modern-day slavery. Read between the lines. They just said that it is within their culture, it is within their tradition, it is within their religious practices, as well as within their national legislation to partake in modern day slavery. Sir, you guys are selling slaves in 2024, and you got the nerve to fix your mush mouth having ass to tell us that we need to pay y'all some reparations?
I put it in the chat for him, Mike TV.
I ain't gonna let him make me mad. I'm gonna do some reading.
I tried to donate to somebody. I didn't have the $3. Somebody came along and snatched that $3. Auto pay. Take your stuff off auto pay that you don't really need on auto pay. Take it off.
Why are you Africans forcing your children into laborious conditions? Why are you Africans modern day participating in human trafficking, but you want to tell us we're lazy? Fix that shit, Africans. Fix that shit. You're right, New Era. Because modern slavery is difficult to recognize, it has been difficult to combat this practice despite international and national efforts. Again, the man that we heard speaking earlier that said Black Americans owe Africans reparations, he's a Nigerian man. So let's take a look at their cultural and traditional practices of slavery. History of slavery in Nigeria. The traditional slave trade in southern Nigeria preceded the arrival of European influence. Oh my God. Y'all, I gotta do a whole expose on the fact that, first of all,
I didn't know a lot of this stuff either. I'm learning too.
Us from Africa to North America and South America and the Caribbean and whatnot. I get that, okay? I get that. But he would have never been able to do that if these Africans didn't capture us and sell us to them. So goddamn it, the main culprit of the transatlantic slave trade is you fucking Africans, and you're participating in slavery modern day, and you got the nerve to say that we owe you some sort of reparations. Guess what, y'all? How can we put all the blame on the white folks when the traditional slave trade in southern Nigeria preceded the arrival of European influence? Ain't no white man make y'all start enslaving your fellow countrymen. Y'all was doing that before a pale-faced motherfucker ever showed up. So who's the real degenerate? Who's really to blame? Y'all got billions of people on the continent, and 99.99% of y'all are unproductive as a motherfucker. Begging with your hand out. Okay. All right, hit the Cash App, hit the PayPal. I kill them over receipts. I'm the antithesis to these Bush babies that get on camera and say a bunch of fuck shit and not cite no sources. This man comes from a lineage of enslavers, and now he's trying to make it seem like he's the victim and he needs a check from us Black Americans. The truth is stranger than fiction. The traditional slave trade in southern Nigeria preceded the arrival of European influence and continued locally long after the effective abolition of slavery in many other countries. So they were practicing slavery before the white man and after the white man abolished it and stopped doing it his damn self. The Africans still continue to practice it. Say it ain't so. Lord, oh Lord, before I ever call a person a white devil, I gotta recognize the African devil. Say it ain't so. You're still participating in it. We just now call it human and child trafficking. Goddamn. Let's talk about you Igbos. I've had quite a few Nigerian Igbos call in. Let's look at your traditional Igbo man. The Igbo traditionally maintained the Osu caste system of the Idani religion, Osu were people who were regarded as spiritually inferior, and they were segregated from regular Igbo society. Osu were either kept as slaves or sold into the slave trade. So y'all literally are selling your own. Don't believe these lying ass Africans, these scamming ass Africans, when they say, oh no, they were like selling the rival tribes. They were selling their enemies. They were selling their own. No, y'all were selling your own. Come on, y'all. As of 2020, Osu descendants still face discrimination among the Igbo people. Local campaigners against discrimination have aligned themselves with the global Black Lives Matter movement. So y'all piggybacking off of Black Lives Matter to try to stop what y'all got going on in Africa, and he got the nerve to say we lazy. Okay. Comparing the treatment of slave descendants in Nigeria with the treatment of Black people in the United States. Sokoto Caliphate. The Sokoto Caliphate was a powerful 19th century Sunni Muslim caliphate with its capital Sokoto located in northern Nigeria. The caliphate brought decades of economic growth to the region. An estimated 1 to 2.5 million non-Muslim slaves were captured during the Fulani War. Slaves worked plantations, but may also have been granted freedom, conditional on conversion to Islam. By 1900, Sokoto had at least 1 million and perhaps as many as 2.5 million slaves. Damn, have y'all heard of the Yoruba? I've heard of the Yoruba.
I heard of the name, Yoruba.
The Yoruba have a history of slavery, apparently. Slavery had traditionally existed among the Yoruba people before it was officially abolished by the British in 1893 during colonialism. Hey, so for a homeboy who was triggered in the chat that my Cash App got the word colonial in it, what's worse, colonialism or what these Africans was already doing to one another before the white man ever showed up in the first place? I ask you. Owning slaves was a status symbol in Yoruba society. Guys, we are not them, they are not us. Us foundational Black Americans would never consider it a fucking flex to own some Black folks as slaves. We don't get down like that, but you Africans do. I see dead people.
You a fucking colonizer. The family matter and the truth for the matter. He was God's plan to show y'all the liar. They not like us. 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 They not like us.
All right then.
Okay.
Can y'all hear this?
Let me pause the show to acknowledge some contributions that have come through. Big Hank, thank you again for the Cash App earlier.
The Cash App is Colonial 2020.
Manzi,
Mike TV.
5 on it. Did you guys smashing the like button, hitting subscribe, and making sure that your notifications are on? Lord, oh Lord, what's worse, colonialism or what them Africans was already doing?
They not like us. They not like us. They not like us.
Well, y'all, live and learn.
They not like us. They not like us. They not like us.
I'm pretty sure brother no, he shouldn't have opened that can of worms.
They come foul. I don't know why you still pretending. When it's the hour, bird niggas and bird bitches go. The audience not dumb. Check the stories how you want. Can't trade, they're not slow. Rapping on is still deep. I can go further, I promise. Ain't that something be restless for bitching? You matter who most money. You don't know what you ball boy. Generate a song.
My son.
2009, I had this bitch jumping. You niggas get a wedgie. We flipped over your boxes. Or over your phone. The other match no option. Proceed. That straight they push. The things on the big touch. I write this with a dash. And the cops don't quit hiding. Fuck a dash, you won't action. No accident, no hands on. You fuck around, get polished. Fuck no rain guard. Use a jail. That's condoning. Then get his face tatted like a bitch apologizing. I'm glad you bros came home. Y'all didn't deserve who neither. From a Roger down to Central. Nigga, that not me gon' subpoena. And your homeboy needs a subpoena. That predator moving flocks. That name gotta be registered.
Man, my feet were moving so fast. I
Are you
said
ready
in
for
one
an
spot, but my
unforgettable journey
feet
through
were...
Black history? This March, I'm inviting you to join me on an exclusive tour of Tulsa's historic Greenwood District, better known as Black Wall Street. You'll walk in the footsteps of history with living descendants of the Black Wall Street Massacre, explore the new Black Wall Street Museum that opened in 2021, and visit iconic historic sites. Plus, you'll get to dine at Black-owned Southern restaurants and experience the vibrant culture of this incredible community. Don't miss this powerful opportunity to honor our ancestors and celebrate Black excellence. Spots are limited, so email me today at mike@nativebblackancestry.com to reserve your place. Let's make history together.
How Afro get in front of my mother race. I ain't never been to Afro color. I ain't never been to Africa. Afro or Africa. Never been there. I'm not from Africa. I'm born and raised in Goose, Florida. I'm born in Goose, raised in Liberty City, the Poker Bean Project. I ain't never went to Africa. I ain't thinking about going there. And I heard it's a beautiful place. Yeah. And I know it's the motherland. Yes. But not my mother, not her mother, and not her mother's mother. That ain't their land. American real true land is right here in the U.S. soil.
I'm not African American. I'm American. I was born on American soil.
Saying that we all come back, that's the biggest damn lie. Indian, indigo, black, native, we the real indigenous tribe. I be the best man of America, due to the might of country on me. Sweating every single last race in this world come from me. So if I can shoot, how the fuck you on my land first? I try to claim my shit, man, I've been my people was not no birds. You know no name, we should be honest, you really a $5 Indian. $5 to take my land, you know you a fraud. You not one of them. The government changed our names just so we don't get no reparations. Color, black, Negro, African American is what they changed our names. We is the Cherokee, we is the Iroquois, and the Apache, we is the Cheyenne, we the Colombians, we the American Aboriginal Native man. Comment part 2. If y'all want me to go deep, which kind of people say we African? When we is the original beat, that's why we do not know ourselves. We really think we started.
Many know about slavery, but few discuss paper genocide. We did not all come from Africa, and most of us have Aboriginal roots that were stripped away due to reclassification and miseducation. Hold on. Cut the commercial. Y'all already know about my genealogy consultation services, but what you don't know is that I also have a membership option on my new website, nativebblackancestry.com. For only $9.99, you can have access to the largest online database of historical documentation on Native Black American indigeneity. $9.99 a month. You got access. You just click the tab that says book list. I'm going to be updating this book list every Sunday with so many gems.
Y'all, it's the largest online database
now,
of
today's
books.
broadcast, what we're going to do is take a look through a book called The Black American Handbook for Survival Through the 21st Century. They actually have
it's got all the books
where they share some of the surnames
for your personal library. You got to get your personal library. We got to help each other. Get these libraries together.
No, a lot of indigenous tribes adopted European surnames when they were assimilating into European culture and society. So let's go ahead and run that ad back from the beginning. Let the folks who don't know about my genealogy consultation services, make them aware. But once we come back from this quick advertisement, we're going to get into some of these Black indigenous surnames. Know about slavery, but few discuss paper genocide. We did not all come from Africa, and most of us have Aboriginal roots that were stripped away due to reclassification and miseducation. As a Native Black American and a member of the Muskogee Creek Nation, I understand the importance of tracing your lineage. If you want to learn how to trace your genealogy and apply for tribal citizenship, go to nativebblackancestry.com to schedule a consultation.
They don't want you to remember this. You're not no slave, you indigenous. Fuck how they painted them Indians. You went to war with the French and the British. Man, quite frankly, you was King's Merovingians. They took the women and men, made them prisoners, raised up the children to worship their images, set up a lab, took the genes and they mixed them, and this shit get way deeper than your picking.
All right, let's go ahead and get on into it. So guys, we can be here reading these surnames all night. I don't want to bore you to death, but what we're going to do for those who are live and those who are watching the replay, I want to cater to both audiences. So for those that are live, anybody in the chat, if you have a certain family surname of yours that you would like to see that's affiliated with any tribe, just put the name in the chat.
Let me put my last name in his
I'll
chat.
go ahead and click search.
Hold on.
And see whether it's
I don't know if this
Cherokee,
is the replay or what, because I've been back and forth.
Or a Seminole surname. For those watching the replay, before we do that for the live viewers, for those watching the replay, what I'm going to do now is go through this book go through these surnames, and I'm going to pause on each page for a moment so you guys can snap screenshots or, take a look through the list at your own leisure. But let's go ahead and get on into it. Let me start by zooming in. This first list we're going to start with is the Cherokees. And I'm going to work to make this as large as I can. I know you guys are going to be trying to screenshot this and whatnot. Let me make this nice and big. There we go.
Okay, it says still live. It's not the replay.
All right. There we go.
That's my other live.
Actually, hold on. I want it so everything's in one shot, so we don't even got to do any scrolling. There we go. So right now, we're taking a look at the surnames that the Cherokees have adopted. Actually, funny enough,
I just want to put my last name in there.
Some of my clients, their ancestors will actually have an indigenous name, and then they'll have a European name that they adopted. Hence, why some of us have European surnames. But as you can see, when it comes to the Cherokees, this right here is going to be the first and second page. Go ahead, take a snapshot. I'm going to read through some of these names.
See, we lied because I typed my last name in, and it came up.
Alberti, Aldrich, Allen, Alred, Alwell, Anderson, Armstrong, Arnsby, Austin. If we skip over to the C's, we've got Caesar, Caldwell, Calvin, Campbell, Kennard, Carbon,
Can we do the
Carr,
names?
Carson, Carter, Cates, Chambers, Charles, Chase, Chapman, Childress, Chotu, Chukalasti, Claggett, Clark, Clay, Clifton, Klitsch, Coast, Coker, Colbert, Coleman, Collins, Cootie, Cooper, Cordry, Cornish, Cotton, Cox, Crapo, Cravens, Crawford, Cribbin, Crittund, Crockett, Crossland, Crossley, Cruthfield, Kurtz, Curtis. I'm going to go ahead and go to the next page so you guys can snap a screenshot. This right here is going to be closing out the last of the Cherokees right here. Only got a couple of these, Van Zant and Van.
Oh.
And then this next list that's starting right here is the Chickasaw tribe.
Let me see. I had heard when I was young.
But take a look at some of the E's for the
Cherokee,
Chickasaw.
I think.
We've got Eastman,
my great grandmama was
Edwards,
Cherokee.
Gates,
This
Elliott,
is her right here.
Eubanks, Evans, Evan, Everhart. Oh, and good Lord.
This
I'm looking
is
at
my
the chat.
great-grandma.
You guys done put hello, sir.
Her name is Eileen.
Okay, yeah, so
Her name is
I don't want
Eileen.
this live stream to go on forever.
I think she was
I got
Cherokee.
another live stream I got to do.
I'm
after
a
this
trace
one. I
her.
actually do have a special live
Find
guest
her
on
mama.
the next live stream.
Her mama's
So,
mama, because I
wanna
don't
make
know
this live stream
my
too
own
long, so here's
family
what we'll do.
history.
For anybody that wants me to research their surname now live, go ahead and drop a Cash App or PayPal. Any amount will do. Whatever you've got in your heart to give. But whatever the contribution amount is, does not matter. Just make sure you put the surname in the comment section for the Cash App or the PayPal. I don't care if you send $1. Just we gotta.
If you got $2,
so that we've hopefully got a little bit less
send it
people
to our brother.
look up their surname because you guys just put like
the
least
largest
a dozen surnames in the
database
chat.
books, nothing but knowledge.
So let me go
y'all.
through these pages so that people watching the replay can screenshot this before we see who sent in any Cash Apps or PayPals. Going to the next page for the Chickasaws.
Maybe he'll just read the
This
comments.
page on the left is going to be the last page for the Chickasaws. Only have one surname for Q's. That's interesting for the Chickasaws. Quinn is the only Q surname. Only one U surname as well, Underwood. When it comes to T's, I'm seeing a lot of surnames that Black Americans have. Taylor, Thomas, Thompson, Tobler. Matter of fact, I have ancestors with the surname Tobler. That's crazy. Turner, Tyson. All right. And then this page on the right is going to be the Choctaws. Make sure to screenshot that. Take a look. If we flip over to the next page, go ahead and take your screenshot. My last name is Lane. I don't see any Lane here for this tribe. We're looking at the Choctaws right now. So my surname Lane is not affiliated with the Choctaws in any way. If we click over to the next page,
I'm going to have to look through all of the tribes for my last name.
This is going to close out the list for that tribe. I believe we were just looking at the Choctaws. I don't want to misspeak though. Yep, we were just looking at the
This
Choctaws.
is the replay.
And then my tribe, the Creeks.
Well, what time
Abrams,
is it? 'Cause we
Adams.
can-
I've got a
finish
lot of
this.
surnames with the Adams popping up on my Creek
You
side of the
probably
family.
won't even
Wonder
read
why.
today.
Ad, Atkins, Alberty, Alex, Alexander, Allen, Andrew, Andy, Ard, Asbury, Atkins, Austin. Okay. Let's go ahead and check out the
I
next
do
page.
know
of
some
Creeks.
Alexanders. Yeah.
Chris says, teacher Mike, we ain't no Africans. Facts. Most definitely not no Africans. And most people don't even know when we think of people like the folks in Tulsa, Oklahoma who built Black Wall Street, y'all do realize those were Black Indians, right? Y'all do realize they were in Tulsa, Oklahoma because they walked the Trail of Tears, or their ancestors did, and they were pushed to Indian territory because they were Indians. Y'all know
Somebody
that,
just said Alexander's one of mine. Their last name is Alexander.
Perfect segue, right? If you don't know the rich history of Tulsa, Oklahoma, March of this year, I'm putting together a Black Wall Street history tour. Ever dreamed of experiencing the rich history of Black Wall Street? This March, I'm offering an exclusive chance to visit Tulsa's Greenwood District, where history was made. Join us as we take a powerful tour led by living descendants of the Black Wall Street Massacre, explore the inspiring Black Wall Street Museum, opened in 2021, and discover untold stories. You'll also enjoy mouth-watering meals at Black-owned Southern restaurants and visit historic landmarks that honor our legacy. Don't wait, spaces are limited. Email me now at mike@nativeblackancestry.com to secure your spot. Let's celebrate history and build a connection to our roots.
Finished my consultation with Mike. A lot of information in a short period of time, but it was very valuable information. I'm definitely excited to get started searching on my genealogy. He's been an awesome resource. Gave me a lot of information, a lot of things, a lot of pieces to the puzzle I didn't have. He was able to help me find them, and I 100% recommend Mike and his services to anyone who's looking to crack the code, so to speak, on their genealogy, because there's a lot of, how we say, fake news going around with this subject, and it's very important that people are able to put the pieces together, because if you don't know your history, you don't know your future. So 100% sign up.
All right, let's get back to these surnames. I see somebody in the chat asking about the PayPal. PayPal is Mr. Real Estate 916. I think Nightbot is.
I didn't come and think of it. I probably should have Eileen's last name.
But yeah,
My great
taking a look at the
grandmama.
Creek surnames.
Her last
Go ahead and
name.
click to the next page. Williams, Wheat, White, Welsh, Warner, Wade, right? All right. And then the page on the right is going to start off the Seminoles. Fun fact, their name in Spanish is Seminoles, which means runaway slave.
Runaway
They
Slave is a
heavily
channel too.
resisted
Y'all go
Indian
to it.
removal west
Runaway
of the
Slave is on
Mississippi
YouTube.
And protested slavery. They actually had a policy where runaway slaves, whether they were Indian or African, could find safe harbor and assimilate into their tribe. So yeah, rich history when it comes to the Seminoles. They fought Andrew Jackson, something called the Seminole Wars, for over a decade. The Spaniards even enlisted them to be kind of mercenaries. I forget exactly what their title was when they had their time in Mexico working for the Spanish, but yeah, rich history there, the Seminoles. Let's go ahead and flip to the next page. Let's make sure to snap your screenshots. This is going to be the last page for the Seminoles. And then in just a moment, what we're going to do is take a look at the folks that hit the Cash App, hit the PayPal. We're going to research their requests for surnames first. And then if we got some time, we'll see if anybody has some surnames in the chat.
Me?
And yes, the Seminoles were great warriors indeed. All right, so the first Cash App that came through was Stephen. Stephen, thank you for the contribution. Appreciate you sliding something in the brown paper bag. It has 3 surnames. Okay, Welch, Clapton, and Eddie. Let's start with Welch. Let's start with Welch. W-E-L-C-H.
Welch.
We do see Welch popping up on multiple pages.
Oh.
It looks like Welch surname is affiliated with the Cherokee tribe, as you can see right here. It's also affiliated with the Choctaw tribe, as you can see right here. And it's also affiliated with the Creek tribe, my tribe. So 3 different tribes were known for adopting the surname Welch. Another surname was Clapton. Let's see about Clapton. No matches found for Clapton. Last one was Eddie. No matches for Eddie. Next person who sent in a contribution was Charisse. Charisse, thank you for sliding something in the brown paper bag. All right, Charisse wants me to look up Mason and Howes. Let me try Howes first. Howze. No result for Howes, but when it comes to Mason, we do have. Actually, no. I don't think these are surname matches. This is just other parts where the name Mason shows up just in this book in general. Let me see. Okay, we do have a surname match, I believe. It looks like the Mason surname is affiliated with the Chickasaw tribe. Yep. And yeah, that's the only tribe that Mason is showing up under, Chickasaw tribe.
Ooh, I wonder which tribe is my great-grandmama gonna fall
We got Ebony.
Cause he gonna check the chat.
Ebony, thank you for the contribution. Ebony says we are Seminole.
I put my name. Let me put my great-grandmama name.
Americans actually have Aboriginal roots on both sides of the family. They just don't even know. But thank you for sliding something on the brown paper bag. And Ebony wants me to look up the surname Roberts. Let's see about Roberts. Roberts. Here we go. All right, so we got Roberts on multiple pages. First page I'm seeing them under is the Chickasaw tribe. So Roberts is associated with the Chickasaws. Roberts also shows up under Choctaw. So Chickasaw and Choctaw so far. They're also showing up under Creek. So Chickasaw, Choctaw, and Creek. And they're also showing up under the Seminoles. So Chickasaws, Choctaws, Creeks, and Seminoles were known for adopting the surname Roberts. And you know what? I didn't see my surname Lane, but it was just like on one of the tribes pages we were on. I didn't see Lane. I'm going to do a quick search for Lane. I wonder if any other tribes utilize the surname Lane. Oh yeah, you know what? It pops up here. What tribe is this? The Cherokee. Okay. So the Cherokees were known for using the surname Lane. Interesting. Very, very interesting. And I see a lot of people type in surnames they want me to search in the chat. People who get preference are going to be folks who hit the Cash App, at the PayPal. NativeBlackAncestry.com/tweet. Just make sure to include a comment that has your surname in it. That way, we're able to give some preference to folks who want to also simultaneously support the broadcast. But I think we just had another one come through. Let me see. Yes, Tarika, thank you for the contribution. Appreciate you hitting the PayPal. Tarika, see, y'all slick too. See, I need to stop saying any amount will do. I swear, some of y'all be sending in contributions and having like 3 surnames with them. Y'all get your money worth, okay? We black folks out here. I heard that right. Tarika got 3 surnames she wants me to look up. Hold on. And here, I'm gonna say the cap is 3. Okay, if you send a cash out or a PayPal,
and you can see the full list free of charge on his website.
Let's see them. You got Mitchell. Let's see if Mitchell pops up. Mitchell is affiliated with the Cherokee tribe. They're also affiliated with the Chickasaw tribe, and the Choctaw tribe, and the Seminole tribe. Okay. The more you know. Another surname she wanted me to look up was Sylvester. Sylvester. Nope, nothing for Sylvester. And Rollerson. Nothing for Rollerson. So the only one that popped up was Mitchell. Let me see if we have any other contributions that came through. Let's see. Janice just came through with a contribution on the Cash App. I appreciate the support, Sister Janice. Thank you for sliding something in the brown paper bag. All right, so Janice wants me to look up 3 surnames. The first one is Carpenter. Carpenter does not show up. Bennett. Bennett shows up under the Chickasaw tribe and under the Seminole tribe. Chickasaw and Seminole for Bennett. And Anderson. Anderson showing up on a few. Anderson showing up under Cherokee, Chickasaw, Choctaw, and Seminole. So 4 out of the 5 civilized tribes. Anderson was a pretty popular surname, so it seems. Pretty popular surname indeed. And we've got Carolyn coming through with a Cash App. I appreciate the contribution. Thank you for sliding something in the brown paper bag.
Brown paper bag. Brown paper bag.
All right, Carolyn wants me to look up.
We just read in this book
so I'm just gonna
how the government made the tribes change their name.
Bonds.
Let me
Don't
see
mean
if
to
that's.
dox you. I mean, it's a surname look up.
Because remember, they didn't want them to have the Indian names anymore.
Bonds with an S. Bonds does not show up under the surname.
I know some Bonds.
But Carolyn, if there are any other ones that you want me to look up, since you did send a quite generous contribution, put the other surnames in the chat. Just put them in all caps, so I know it's you in the chat. I think I got another notification. Let me see if there was somebody else, maybe, possibly. I think that was it for now. I think that was it. So yeah, guys, before we wrap up this broadcast, in the next 5 minutes, if there's anybody who wants to look up a surname, you know what to do. Hit the Cash App, hit the PayPal. You can put up to 3 surnames in the comment section. I'll look them up real quick. In honor of the ancestors.
Yeah,
let me go ahead and look up some surnames for $3.99. Let me just go ahead and at random pick some folks in the chat who are posting surnames and see if they pop up here. McLevin says Hickson. Let me look up Hickson. Hickson does not pop up. Another random one I'm seeing is Roberts.
Oh, I know he's going to get to Bolden.
Roberts is affiliated with the Chickasaws, the Choctaws, the Creeks, and the Seminoles. So another very popular surname, 4 out of the 5 civilized tribes. 4 out of the 5 civilized tribes. Let me see if I can find another one at random in the chat. Cook. This will be the last one we do from the chat.
I'm going to go look them up on the website.
Cook is popping up under the Chickasaw and under the Choctaw. So Chickasaw and Choctaw really liked adopting that surname, Cook. But yeah, guys, we're going to go ahead and wrap up this broadcast.
I think my grandmother's
no one else that wants me to do any searches real quick. Oh, wait, no, you know what? I thought I missed a notification. We got Ebony. Ebony says Nesmith during slavery, please. Okay, let's look up Nesmith. That's a unique surname. I haven't come across that one before. Nesmith.
I never heard of that name before.
Nothing popping up for Nesmith. We did look up Roberts, though. Roberts was a popular one, I tell you. Oh, and you know what? That's the same Ebony that sent the Cash App. Okay. So yeah, we already looked up Roberts. It's all good. And here, before we wrap up this broadcast, Here I see. Here I'll do two more. We'll do Jones, and we'll do King. And then if there's anyone that sends a Cash App or a PayPal, we'll do a few more. But for now, before we wrap up, we'll do Jones and King. Jones has to be a pretty common one, I would imagine.
I know some Joneses.
Jones is popping up under the Cherokee.
Oh,
right, perfect. Jones is also popping up under Choctaw. Jones is also popping up under Creek, and Jones is popping up under Seminole. So another very
4 out of 5.
4 out of the 5.
Jones, your surname, your last name pops up
one I think I was gonna look
in
up
4 out of 5 of the civilized
Jackson
tribes.
Jackson might be 5 out of 5. Okay, Jackson's popping up under the Cherokees, under the Chickasaws.
I forgot where the Jones had moved from when they moved to my hometown. But they weren't from our hometown. They had moved there.
The quote-unquote civilized tribes adopted the name Jackson. Interesting. Very, very interesting indeed.
No.
All right, I'm going to do one last look at the Cash App and the PayPal. I'd hate to end the stream and somebody didn't send in a contribution. We got Christopher coming through with the Cash App. Christopher, thank you for the contribution. I appreciate you supporting the broadcast, sliding something in the brown paper bag. All right, Christopher says King and Randall. I feel like I already looked up King. I can't remember though. Let me try King. Oh no, I haven't looked up King before. So when it comes to King, we've got
I know
shows
King.
Up under Cherokee. And Creek. And Seminole. And that's the last one. So King showing up under the Seminoles.
I just met someone with the last name King.
Under the Creeks. And under the Choctaws and the Cherokees. So 4 out of the 5 civilized tribes. I hate to even use the word civilized. You know they only called them civilized tribes because they were the most assimilated, right?
Mm-hmm.
They had long contact with white folks.
They think they something with their word play.
Spoke English, you know?
Yeah.
Okay, this is going to be the last one. I really got to wrap up and get to the next broadcast. We got a special guest on the next live stream. And you guys are definitely going to want to stick around for the next live stream because I'm going to really drop some gems as far as the kind of genealogy research that I do. Just like how I'm giving you guys the opportunity to take some time, send in a Cash App, have me look up a surname. It's going to be very similar on the next stream, but it's going to be about genealogy research in general. So if there's anybody that has questions like, hey, where should I build my family tree? Or how do I go about this? Or how do you get your
we need to get on our family
anybody
tree.
That has questions about the genealogy process, the next live stream, I'm going to get into all the nitty gritty. I'm also going to have a special guest. We're going to run through some documents. It's going to be great. So definitely make sure to stick around for the next live stream. But before we wrap up this one, we've got, so we got 2 more. So these 2 are going to be last one. Nobody else on the Cash App, nobody else on the PayPal. We got Rochelle coming through.
$2. I'm just playing.
Rochelle wants me to look up Bailey. Thank you for the contribution.
I'm just joking.
Let's see about Bailey. Bailey's popping up under the Chickasaw, under the Choctaw, and the Creeks. And then I had one last PayPal that came through from Tarika. Tarika says Tobias and Lumsden. Let's try Tobias.
Lumsden.
Nothing for Tobias. And Lumsden, nothing for Lumsden. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, once again, do not go anywhere. Don't touch that dial. As soon as this broadcast ends, there's going to be a 10-second countdown on the screen. The next live stream will start automatically. I will see you over there in just a bit. And you guys can have all your genealogy questions answered.
Oh,
let's get into it, y'all.
Marvelous. And that's a 10-second commercial that he was talking about and stuff. And I didn't intend that to happen. I was already watching Mike TV. And then when I went to my thing to set up and stuff. It said I wouldn't be able to do it, so I was trying to use the webcam to do it. But that's different from when you do it with the StreamYard, I suppose. So I ended up on his live while I was on mine. And I sent him a message. I don't know if he's seen it. And then they said we watching the replay, but I don't know. We just finished it. But it's good to see y'all. Yeah, the damn light bill again, you know. Yeah, it is what it is. I'm all right without a little lights and stuff. I still was able to come on in a way. I don't think it's broadcasting to Facebook. And then I think I got to pay to broadcast to other channels and stuff. But, you know, yeah, in due time and stuff. But I want to give us his websites real quick for Mike TV. His Cash App is the $ Colonial 2020. If you want to send him a Cash App. And I think I'm pretty much sure I'm going to have to subscribe to his channel. Because he does what I do and stuff with the reading and stuff. He do the same thing. More advanced. Y'all, he got it. The largest database with nothing but books and statistics, knowledge, facts. It's the largest database, you know, for $9.99, you know. And so, yeah, I want that database with all them books and stuff. That'll help me to understand, to learn, and to get additional books for my library. And you supposed to be getting your personal library. We need to get these sources and stuff, you know, just another way for us to connect. So, yeah, you go to nativeblackAncestry.com/H. And that's for to have like a genealogy consultation if you want to trace your family tree. I do. I want to trace my family tree. I want to chase it down still, see where my great-grandmama, you know. His PayPal is Mr. Real Estate 916. Yep, Mr. Real Estate 916. And to check your last name, what he was doing, it's on the website. You can go to nativeblackAncestry.com/T. And that's to check your last name and see if your last name is indigenous. Or, you know, I want to check my great-grandmama and my mama's father's last name. Yeah. Oh, and then he need 1,000 followers, y'all, on TikTok so that they can create content over there. So if you on TikTok, I don't know nothing about TikTok. I got it, though. I'm going to go there and subscribe to him. But Mike TV needs 1,000 followers on TikTok. So go to TikTok. And, you know, you on your other channels and stuff. And you greet everybody as soon as you go in. You know, you be like, Shalom, family. Then, you know, somewhere in there where everybody greeting and somebody be like, Shalom, back to you. And you just let them know. Go to TikTok and subscribe to Mike TV. Yeah, you know, and everybody see it and stuff, you know. And as we get to speaking and talking to each other and recognizing names and stuff, we can show each other where to go. The trees is cut down now. All the trees is cut down now. So, you know, we got to do some other routes and stuff. But that was that was different, but it was worthy. You know, I didn't want to get off of it. I did not want to get off of it. Y'all, if you go to nativeblackAncestry.com/H, it's 290 plus documents and photos of our history. We need to know all of these things. Oh, the TikTok is Mike TV. Mike TV 999. I got both of them. I guess it's Mike TV 999. Yeah. So yeah. Oh, and Mike and them got a trip coming up where you can explore the Black Wall Street Museum. I'm gonna put that on my bucket list over there because I want to start visiting the museums and stuff. I want to start traveling, seeing some stuff. Yeah, I don't want to just go to Mall of America no more. I'm done with all of that and stuff. It's time, you know, to get serious about why we here before we ain't here. You know, everybody, we all gonna leave here and stuff. It's about what are we leaving now at this point. With me, it is. It's so good to see y'all. I know we done went in on the other side of the house. Ain't we? I don't know. We just had to get in another way today. Everybody ain't gonna see this and stuff because it ain't on the regular platform that I was using. Because I gotta pay the light bill again. You know, I'm gonna have to find another way to pay that light bill because everybody hounding that door, honey. Everybody. You know, I thought I was like, yeah, well, let me take Hulu and Netflix. Because, you know, you got to pay for them little platforms and stuff, watch them movies and stuff. Let me take these off of the auto pay. Don't trust auto pay. Put just what you really, really, really need on your auto pay. You put everything else on auto pay, honey. Everybody coming up just yanking your few dollars. Yank them, yank them, yank them. They just, so yeah, I'm gonna have to use another card or something that ain't nobody on. Ain't nobody knocking at the door, looking through the door and stuff, trying to see if it's $2 in there so they can take it. And I'll try to do it today when I stop out and stuff. It depends if a lot of people is out. Because where I go with, honey, you soon go there, be 30 people in line. They got one person behind the counter. Damn this thing. I'm just saying. But yeah, it's so good to see y'all and stuff. You know, we here. Face the Nation, we all here. We on Bolden Unchained for Black people. It's all for Black people. Oh, how we love Black people. I do want to say, when I started out with Mike's TV, when he got to the part about the brother in Africa, and I didn't comprehend that the brother in Africa was the one saying that we owe they ass reparations. So Mike done came out, I'm kind of embarrassed and stuff too, because Mike came out the bag on it. Sure did. Came out the bag on it. And talking about us, we lazy, all of this, all that white mindset. All that white mindset. Now, why did brother have to come on there and do that like that? Instead of saying, who's the problem for the whole root of this big tree? Africa and America. White folks. White folks. Because Mike had to go out and tell it that they was already enslaving before white people even went over there. So I'm just like, what is that? What is all of that about? It's so much to learn. Black America. I know we better hold each other. We better hold each other. I don't know if we'll be able to fix ourselves, us and them, in time to be able to stop some shit. Shit, Sophia the robot won't be able to do nothing. All her ass can do is move her eye from side to side, because we be so in tune with each other, with the cosmos, with the ecology. But maybe, you know, it's just got to be us, Black America. Maybe it's just us. But when he was talking about the surnames and stuff, and we just read about that. We just read about that in Dr. Claude Anderson, More Dirty Little Secrets. Indians told to get real names. And he was saying what you know, your surname, your last name. Which one of the 5 tribes did your last name fit in? And it's on the website. You go to the website and look it up yourself. I plan on going there and looking up. I'm look up everybody's name now. Yeah, I'm finna look up my mama, my daddy, my mama's daddy, my great grandmama. When I find out her mama name and stuff, I'm finna do my family tree. I ain't never trusted Ancestry name. I ain't never trusted all of them. So that's why I never really did them. I ain't never doing them stuff. But let's read this one more time, because now I see what I'm beginning to see what happened. Indians told to get real names. For nearly 2 centuries, the federal government and American Indians have had a special guardian-client relationship that provided Indians on reservations with many of their basic necessities. American Indians did not have a written language. Prosperity. So parents did not have to write their children's names. According to Indian culture, names were supposed to tell stories and sometimes even give instructions. Before the Federal Commissioner of Indian Affairs did not approve of this practice. But the Federal Commissioner of Indian Affairs did not approve of this practice. He did not want Indians to use names like tail feathers coming from weeping willow, or the deer who walks with the buffalo herd, or he who knows 2 bones, or the ancient arrow maker on the hill. Enough became enough. In 1903, the Bureau issued an order that required all the Indians on reservations to adopt plain American names. They especially encouraged them to use patriotic ones. Indians began using European names like George, Sam, and Peter to stay on the Dawes Road. The Dawes Road, when them $5 Indians bought all our legacy, they bought our land, they bought our identity for $5. Yep. And right today, that's who you see. That's who you see, them pretending, acting like they us and stuff. But when I find out, but then, you know, I say, hey, America about owed me 2 checks. Africa is in me. I feel for Africa. I feel for Africa like I feel for no other continent. Well, you know, or a group of people. I'll put it like that. No other group of people. I feel for them and have empathy for other people. You know what Hitler did? I have empathy and compassion for what that man did, the fucking murderer, the genocider. But my heart is with Africa and America. Yeah, it is. It's a shame though. Everybody sell us out. Everybody sell us out. Just sell us out. Sell yourself out. How the hell does that work? Just cut your own foot off. You ain't got to worry about me running off, master. I'm going to cut my own foot off. How the fuck? All of this, it's a lot. All I know is, please, let me tell it. Don't go to heaven with these people. Be sure where you going. Be sure where you going. Yeah. Oh, as above, so below. As above, so below. Yeah. To stay on the Dawes roll for public relief and tax-free status. Then they shortened their last name. Thus, names like Rolling Thunder became Ron Thomas. These shortened Indian names could more easily fit on public documents or an envelope, just like the great white chief in Washington wanted. It's a whole lot of learning, honey. We've been done a great disservice. Oh, let's get the copyright out the way. And we just gonna go ahead and start reading. I know, right? Copyright disclaimer on the 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Non-profit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. See? Yeah, I just wrote it down word for word, and that's how I read it, word for word. Until we ain't got to do it no more. The year might change on it. They might put some specifics in it. Anything, we don't know. Yeah, these is unprecedented times. We got to take it while we can, and just know we need to be trying to learn to elevate our mindset, to break out of this mental, this indoctrination, this brainwash that we in, to be able to help our people. African people, what we gonna watch, brother? Oh, let's see how long we got. We got 17 minutes. Y'all want to read or you want to watch our brother because he's still on? This is the live. Say something. Say something. And while you think about it, let me put him on. This is Mike TV.
That were used during the
because I'm gonna be here.
And just really,
I ain't going nowhere. I'm gonna be here. Our books gonna be here. Our library gonna be here.
From the 1500s all the way to the recent centuries. So if anybody's interested in getting information as it develops on that history tour, go ahead and email me. Again, it's Mike@nativebblackancestry.com.
In 1682, Virginia would seek to eradicate these American Indians from the face of history with the Virginia
Don't nobody
Slave
be upset
Act.
with me when they be doing like this and stuff. Ain't nobody said nothing, so we gonna hang out with Mike.
The arrival of African slaves.
And if you must go, then I'll see you the next time and stuff. Yeah, this screen looks different too.
Any conquered Native American under their jurisdiction into
now how you gonna listen to both?
Other slave. Over time,
this Mike TV. Go subscribe to Mike TV. He need our help. He need our help. Oh, this say share screen, mute. Oh. Well. So much history. I remember reading about the transatlantic slaves
shackled and shipped
in the book Roots. I got very graphic
brought for the specific purpose
memories from reading that book.
Indigenous women. The majority of male Black Indians were either killed or were too hostile to be taken as slaves, and usually got whipped and worked to death. But rarely ever did Indian males ever reproduce again. In 1705, Virginia passed into law the Virginia Slave Codes, which essentially was a staunch declaration of white supremacy. Through whatever means, free blacks existed in Virginia at the time. These laws prohibited blacks from owning firearms and allowed for the legal arrest of any black suspected of being a runaway who could not provide documentation that he was free on sight. This law also did not allow any whites to work for blacks. During this time, many poor European whites ventured to the New World in search of a better life, many working as indentured servants for a specific amount of time. Many of these Indians hired these whites to work in agriculture, especially tobacco, as it was becoming a huge cash crop in the Euro-Cave world.
And this is, again, very, very important to highlight, because whenever you find anyone who wants to be a detractor or a naysayer about Black Indians, we'll ask them to explain to you who these free people of color are in the United States. That's right, since the beginning of the 13 colonies, since the beginning of European exploration in North America, there have always been free people of color. Crispus Attucks, the first martyr during the Boston Massacre, he was a free person of color. They claim he was of mixed Indian African heritage. Well, we know for sure about the Indian heritage. We know for sure he was black.
We just read about him.
We know for sure he was free. So if we all are supposed to come from West African slaves, who do these people that descend from free people of color, where do these free people of color come from? I had a genealogy client 3 days ago. I came to present it was a virtual presentation. I was presenting the genealogy results. I did 3 months of research for them, traced their lineage back to the late 1700s. And guess what? I had good news, I had bad news. The bad news was I couldn't find any of their ancestors on tribal rolls. I didn't have a clear pathway to tribal citizenship for them based on their genealogy. But the good news was my research concluded that they weren't of African descent at all, that they descend from melanated aboriginals that have been reclassified and made victims of paper genocide. And that person said to me, well, wait, Mike, if my ancestors aren't part of any tribal rolls, if they didn't walk the Trail of Tears, then what in my lineage makes you think that I descend from American Indians? And I showed them documentation. I showed them federal census documents and other papers that listed their ancestors living in northern states during the time of slavery. Maryland was one of those places. At a certain point in time, Maryland had slavery, and they lived in Maryland, I believe Virginia as well, during the time that these states had slavery. And guess what they were listed as? Free people of color.
They was free.
Guys, 1 + 1 = 2. If we're armed with this fact that they're living in a place that has slavery, but they're free people of color, well, then what can we conclude? If you're going to claim that they are Africans, that they descend from Africans, well, how do these Africans transport themselves to America? How do these Africans that weren't slaves, how did they freely transport themselves to America? Or are they American Indians that stayed in their ancestral homeland, resisted Indian removal, did not get pushed to Oklahoma through the Trail of Tears, and because of that, they were reclassified and relabeled with misnomer after misnomer after misnomer? Let's talk about it.
Somebody said, where the ships?
As westward expansion would continue, so would the wars between the indigenous Americans of old and the diseased destroyers of new. And just when you think these natives have had enough, here come the goddamn French. These pillagers from Paris forwent the coast of North America and instead snatched up areas of Canada along the St. Lawrence River and today what is known as Quebec, in addition to areas of Midland America as far south as the Louisiana Bayou. Although Hispaniola and the Taino people had already been conquered by the Spanish, the French now saw fit to take advantage of the waning Spanish stranglehold on the island. The French had begun to settle there after defeating the Spanish in a few small battles. The French took control of the western third of the island during the Treaty of Lisbon. France was given the power to rule that land under the authority of the Holy Roman Empire. In 1795, during the Peace of Basel, France was awarded the eastern half of Hispaniola in an exchange with Spain for a tiny slither of land in the western part of France called Chipusoka. What was the significance of this place, you may ask? It was the home of Ignacio de Loyola, the founder of the Society of Jesus.
That was the emblem of America. That black man in that oval. That was the emblem of America.
However, it would not be long before the French would lose control of the island. Newly imported African slaves, along with Aboriginal native Taino people who had been enslaved there since the days of Columbus, formed a revolution against the French. The natives defeated the French, committing Napoleon Bonaparte to a humiliating defeat at the hands of slaves. In 1804, Haiti claimed its independence from France. The French had been no less evil than the British or the Spanish. Taino and African people had been subjected to the worst conditions working on sugar plantations. It was even documented that pregnant women would abort their own children rather than to have them born into captivity.
And we know Norbert Rillig's, he invented the device so that the slaves didn't have to make that hot juice. They didn't have to move that hot juice from the sugar cane to make it sugar. He created the device because that was like liquid molten, just liquid lava. That juice gets so hot from that sugar, having to break it down. We read about him in the book.
After years of complaints by abolitionist Europeans about the malicious treatment of slaves, the British passed the Slave Trade Act of 1789 and 1807, which restricted the number of slaves that could be transported within one vessel. Although this would seem more humanitarian in a sense, this law was in actuality passed to protect big business from insurance fraud.
Hey, Maud, I wonder if UBTV jumps into it in this video, but another interesting fact of history
I ain't found
is
out
if you
who
look at the
UBTV
population of
is or how to
slaves
spell it
in
yet.
the 13 colonies. I believe they stopped importing slaves from Africa in 1808. But if you see the years after 1808, you see the slave population double, triple, quadruple. It just gets larger and larger and larger. And again, you have to ask, if they're not importing any more slaves, and these slaves that are already here can have babies at this fast of a rate, where are all these new slaves coming from? These slaves are taken as prisoners of war from skirmishes that the U.S. government has with indigenous tribes. They took them, reclassified them, enslaved them. They took them, reclassified them, enslaved them. And if they ran away or weren't a good slave, then they'd ship them to the Caribbean or ship them to Europe or ship them elsewhere. Long before the transatlantic slave trade, there was an Indian slave trade that no one talks about.
Oh.
After the Luzon massacre, in which 130 African slaves were massacred and or thrown overboard, the British will be the first invader Europeans to push for the abolishment of slavery. But of course, this idea wouldn't stick and would eventually evolve into various forms of capitalistic slavery that we still suffer from today. The Atlantic Ocean is the world's most massive slave graveyard. Beneath these waters rest an innumerable amount of souls, relinquishing their last breath of life into the treacherous, lonely abyss of the great deep. When invaders arrived to the Americas and started conquering Indians, any native who did not submit to the crown and the Pope was either tortured and killed or taken into slavery.
He's knowledgeable about his information, about the American Indians, and how we change our classification over time and the different types of mounds and different rules from the French, from the British. If you want viable information, you want to really find out who in your lineage and who are the people you come from, I suggest going with Mike TV. His prices are affordable. Yep. He's not like some of these other people out here. I urge, go with Mike TV.
And as a result, the majority of the slaves taken from North America were sold in Europe, Asia, and Africa.
Europe, Asia, and Africa.
It was no secret that the conquistadors came looking for resources, spoils, and riches. Rumors of El Dorado, the great golden city, triggered a swell of infectious Gentiles crowding into boats and sailing to Zion. Most, if not all, invaders came up fruitless in their pursuit of gold. Rather than returning to Europe empty-handed, human cargo was packed into these vessels to be shipped and sold in Europe. The first slave trade in American history occurred between the Americas and Europe. Whenever Europeans traveled to the Americas, they returned with slaves.
Come on, y'all. My tribe, the Muskogee Creek Nation, we've been in contact with these dirty-ass Europeans since The Spanish conquistador De Soto stepped foot in Alabama in 1540. Yeah, you heard that right, 1540. My tribe been dealing with them since 1540.
Indians made thousands of trips to America from 1492 until 1859. Are we to assume that in 367 years, Europeans did not extract Black Americans and sell them in Europe? It was often reported that De Soto had more slaves than soldiers. Those slaves were Black Indians. Are we to assume that after those battles and collecting slaves, the conquistadors freed these captives and went back to Europe with nothing of value to trade or sell? What was the real reason for intermingling African male slaves into the indigenous population? Africans were brought to replenish the dwindling slave numbers after genocide, massacre, and disease nearly wiped out the entire indigenous population. All records indicate that the majority of the African slave trade was carried out under the control of the British, precisely after the Virginia Slave Act and the Virginia Slave Codes.
Hold on, wait a minute, slow down now. Time out, foul on the play. We gotta slow it down and do a little bit of reading, because reading is so fundamental.
Butterfly in the sky, I can go twice as high. Take a look, it's in a book, a reading rainbow. I can go anywhere.
Where are our
Friends to
codes?
know and ways to grow, a reading rainbow. I can be anything. Take a look, it's in a book, a reading rainbow. Reading rainbow.
Oh yes, let's do some reading. Because I try to educate my audience as much as possible, and I especially do a great job during the
Oh,
one-on-one
here it is, right
genealogy
here.
consultations of hipping people to the knowledge that while 12 plus million African slaves were sold by their fellow African to Europeans for trinkets and trafficked across the world, barely any of those slaves actually reached North America. Barely any of those slaves actually reached the 13 colonies. And if we read what's written right here in red, it says about 287,000 slaves were imported into the 13 colonies over a period of 160 years, or 2%. 2%, only 2% of the 12 million slaves taken from Africa. The great majority went to sugar colonies in the Caribbean and to Brazil, where life expectancy was short and the numbers had to be continuously replenished. I tell you guys all the time, did millions of Africans get trafficked during the transatlantic slave trade? Yes. Where did most of them go? Brazil. Where's the second largest destination? The Caribbean. Where did barely any of them go? North America. Come on. Let's talk about it, guys. Let's talk about it.
Of the British, precisely after the Virginia Slave Act and the Virginia Slave Codes. The bulk of African slaves shipped from Africa to America occurred between 1690 and 1800. According to the Transatlantic Slave Trade Database, 12.5 million Africans were shipped to the New World. 10.7 survived, 14% of those died in the Middle Passage. Of those 10.7 million slaves shipped from Africa, only 388,000 made it to North America, as South America received 95% of total Africans shipped, with Brazil receiving the most. This fact isn't even negated by the charlatan false witness, Henry Louis Gates Jr. During the American Revolution and thereafter, slave numbers nearly doubled by 1810, but the British signed the Slave Trade Act in 1787 and stopped shipping Africans by 1808. So where did all these new slaves come from?
Told you guys, 1808, they stopped importing slaves to North America. Well, how come from 1800s to 1810, we go from 851,000 slaves to 1.1 million? Come on, y'all. I think he's going to show some more graphs here that's going to highlight the fact that the math ain't mathing.
Less than 400,000 landed in America in the span of 367 years. Yet the slave population jumped by 400,000 in the span of 20 years. Women could not reproduce effectively under the stress of lifelong servitude. Most women carried their child until moments before conception, all while slaving her life away in the field. Where did this dramatic jump in population come from, considering the supposed British abolishment of the African slave trade?
Here we go. This is what I was looking for. This is 1810, right? 1808, they stopped importing slaves. Well, how come from 1810 to 1820, we get an extra 400,000 slaves? How come from 1820 to 1830, we get an extra, 400,000 slaves? From 1830 to 1840s, we get another, almost 500, 600,000 slaves. How is the slave population growing at such an alarmingly fast rate if they're not importing slaves anymore? The birth rate can't support this data. The birth rate does not support slaves living under harsh conditions, malnutrition, beaten, chained, being able to increase their population under natural means. So why is the slave population increasing so fast?
Low life expectancy and recessive birth rate amongst slaves, one would think that the overall population would surely drop. But that would not be the case, because in 1860, the slave population had exploded to over 4 million in the United States, yet a new African slave had not legally stepped foot in the United States in over 50 years. In the 1770s, the British recruited slaves to fight in the Revolutionary War. Even George Washington's personal slaves fought. Lord Dunmore, Virginia royal governor, proclaimed to all slaves willing to bear arms for Britain that they would be granted freedom. The slave soldiers wore uniforms with a cryptic message embroidered upon them.
And wasn't it William Whipple? Wasn't it William Whipple that we read about, the soldier?
After the war,
and he fought in that war.
Where's
our book on that right there?
And they were
he fought in that war.
Returned back into perpetual servitude. A very small amount of those black soldiers were actually able to get escorted to Canada, where they were likely able to find passage to England. Plantation conditions were beyond treacherous. Between sugar plantations in the Caribbean, rice plantations in South Carolina, cotton plantations in Alabama, tobacco plantations in Virginia, the average life expectancy of a slave was less than 24 years old. And over half of all children born died at birth or shortly thereafter. So how could a slave population grow with a negative birth rate? No Africans were brought as slaves legally after 1810. Did the government smuggle 3 million secret Africans in less than 50 years? Or were indigenous natives captured and taken by colonizers and sold into slavery, only to be later reclassified as African? During this time of mass growth of industry, also came the influx of new Indian slaves to all these southern plantations at the hands of men like Andrew Jackson. A notorious killer of Indians, Jackson was said to chop down women and children with a bloody axe just because he enjoyed it. Jackson was also a wealthy slave owner himself and represented both the rich and common white man. These Southerners wanted to push all Indians by force out of the remaining territories they still inhabited.
For anybody who is on the fence about having Mike help you or walk you through or educating you about genealogy and the genocide that has happened with the paper trail, I implore you to reach out, allow him to educate you and assist you in this process. I have learned so much in this consultation. I feel educated, empowered, and excited for learning about my history, and looking forward to the future. So if you're on the fence, please go ahead, hit up Mike. I promise you will not be disappointed.
Harboring a severe hatred for Indians, Jackson and Southern whites pushed legislation to pass the Indian Removal Act. For joining up to fight against the Indians, Jackson promised to reward any poor white with regentrified Indian land.
Okay, guys, it's time to blow your mind now. Here's something that was probably never taught to you with proper context. I'm sure that you've heard that Indian removal was in the 1830s, right? I'm sure some of you guys are well aware that the Civil War ended in 1865, right? What does that mean? Think about it. Take a moment. Take several moments. Let's see if anybody in the chat can figure it out. If Indian removal was in 1830s, Civil War ended in 1865, then what's the big deal that most people are missing when it comes to those dates? What does that mean? I mean, history wants to try to program us into thinking that all of our ancestors were slaves in the Deep South for 300, 400 years. Generations on generations, slaves in the antebellum South. But if Indian removal was in 1830s, and the Civil War ended in 1865, what does that mean? It's okay, guys. I didn't realize it for a long time. It took somebody putting it to me in a special way for me to get it. But this is what this means, guys. We've been false-fed a false version of history where they want us to think that for generations our ancestors were slaves in the Deep South. But in actuality, like Shel the Lamp is saying, the South was only colonized by European settlers for what? 30 years, 40 years? They pushed all the Indians out in 1830. They finally get all the Indians to go to Oklahoma. Now the South is in the white man's control in 1830. And they only reigned for 35, damn near 40 years before the Civil War's popping off and ends and they lose, right? There's another thing most people don't realize. A lot of the lynching and harsh treatment and killing and butchering Black folks in the South didn't even happen during a time of slavery. It happened after emancipation. Why is that? Well, now armed with proper context, you realize them white boys was scornful as a motherfucker.
And we reading
they put
about
in all
the
that
lynchings
work to force them
slavery.
Indians to relocate in 1830. They get the South as theirs, and they run it up, get to a bag with them slaves working for free for only 30, 40 years before the North comes, wants their piece of the pie, says, oh, you ain't gonna give it to us? Well, we're gonna free the slaves now. And now that Southern plantation fantasy is coming to an end. So now you see why they were so spiteful, so scornful, and because at the same time that we got emancipated, a few short years after that, we building Black Wall Streets, and we driving the new Ford Model T, and we stunting, and then white folks is living in squalor as our neighbors. So now you see why the Greenwood Massacre and the Rosewood Massacre and things like this took place. Jealousy, envy.
Hey.
Jackson's men would lead militias into Indian territory and forcibly push Indians off their land with an army. To resist meant horrific death. To comply meant slavery or possible starvation, then sickness, then death on the road to the Oklahoma reservation in the dead of winter. Indians were charged money to cross rivers. Many perished on the banks of the Mississippi because they could not afford the $1 to $3 per head price gouge by ferry attendants when whites were being charged a nickel. Many of these people would choose to be indentured servants. Out of desperation for survival, they would sign themselves up as slaves. With fugitive slave laws and the Virginia codes, many indigenous natives and free blacks were simply kidnapped into slavery.
Like the movie 12 Years a Slave. Solomon North was kidnapped. Yep, I gotta go. I know, I do work. Yeah, and I just feel like, work is not supposed to be all of that for us. We're supposed to have time to create, to build, to nurture, to nourish our families, our home, our communities and stuff. Even that has been a manipulation on how we spend our time and the hours that are available in the daytime and stuff. But yeah, I want that timeline he got because I got us our timeline that I was looking for of the states, North Carolina, South Carolina, Virginia. I'll read them, another time and stuff. But they had all of these codes. And it seemed like wherever, it didn't even matter where you go to, all of these codes was on Black people. It's like a whole, it's fucked up. Even on the backside, we should have never stayed among these people. We should have just been trying to do for ourselves, by ourselves. But I thank you all for coming through and for watching Mike TV with us, because we got to learn these things. It's enough of our social medias, our platforms out there that's teaching us what we need to know. And we got to find somewhere to be. We got to, sometimes I don't know whether to stay on where I'm at or to come on my own, because I'm learning too. I'm trying to learn too. I got to learn. I don't want to leave this place without learning what I need to know so I can assist my people. I know it may not seem important to some of us and stuff. What does it matter? As long as we go to heaven. Yeah, it do matter. It very much matters to me what's going to happen to your soul, your spirit, when you do trap yourself up in heaven and stuff. As a people, you know, I care about us here and there. I really do. Oh, it's so good to see you, Grandizer. I know, yeah. He was on a live and stuff, and I was on it, and then we ended up coming over here because I couldn't get on my StreamYard. I got to go pay that light bill again. But I'm going to get out here and go to my job because I do work, you know. And I'll see you all tonight. Have a wonderful day. Keep your song in your heart. Keep your gratitude. Don't let nobody take it away from you. It's yours. You need it. We need it. All that we can get. That may be all we have. Our silver linings from Mother Gaia and the cosmos. So let's use it. Let's use it. Yeah, we gotta, we gotta get in this fight. Vernon John said, if you see a good fight, get in it. Yep, get in it.